Turn us down a little bit. Okay, I'll call the order the May 1st BPAC meeting. Thanks everybody for attending and coming out to Sisters. I know it's a big ask when we do the roadshow events, but thank you so much for attending, and of course everybody online as well. And we have some people here in the audience locally, so excited about that. We're going to get going with some introductions, and then we have public comment period if anybody wants to make the comments. And I'm just going to say we are going to not do an approval of the minutes because there was a mistake with the PDF of the minutes, so we'll just push that back to next month. And do 2 sets of minutes at one time, so not a big deal. So I am Jennifer Letts. I am the chair of BPAC, and we'll start at that end of the room for introductions. You push the button down so that the microphone is red, and you're ready to go.
Perfect. Neil Bonsgard, BPAC member. That's it. Yeah.
So much more than that.
That's it.
Everyone, Chris Chang, Rhoda.
Hi, Kim Curley Consulting. I'm a new BPAC member.
Wendy Olson, BPAC member.
Hi, I'm Tanya Saltzman. I'm the county staff liaison.
Last year. Dave Rose, feedback mover. Mark Smith, feedback member.
Megan Winchell. Welcome. It's nice to have you here for the meeting. I'm going to start with public comments, and then we will officially. How about online? Oh, yeah. Thank you. Online. How about Bob?
Bob Nash, BPAC member from Redmond.
Anthony.
Hey everybody, Anthony Accinelli, the Lapine BPAC member.
Good to see Anthony. Matt.
Hey everyone, Matt Muchna, BPAC member.
Ava.
Hi, I'm Eva Richardson, and I am with Commute Options.
That's it, right? The Jack is right there. Okay, thank you for that. We'll do public comment, and then we'll do kind of an official introduction of our new members, because we're not going to gloss over that. So, we have public comments. We usually just try to ask people to keep that to around 30 minutes. And somebody got an extra mic up here, so you wanted to say something. So welcome to come up. State your name and where you live, and then what's that's the name there.
Thank you. I'm Kurt Springman, 8681 West Hantler Avenue, Redmond. I've lived in the area about 40 years. I'm a member of the COWS, Central Oregon Wheelers, the cycling team, cycling group, as well as the Tumalo Cycling team and CODA. Prior to relocating down here, I lived in Washington, when I was a city council member, and a member of many different bike head committees. We're also a Rocket Hero, bicycle safety for St. Louis. Today I'm here to introduce a topic which is signage, directional signage for the Tumalo Tunnel. The tunnel is a wonderful feature, the bicycle and ped safety. Unfortunately, it is not well signed. And formal surveys of cyclists and 2/3 were unaware that there was a tunnel. And they're using the roundabout, which is not a safe cyclists. So my suggestion today is to figure out how to add some directional signage. The document I have here has photos of where my thought is that signage would be helpful. And I guess it's up to this committee to make recommendations or to figure out who has jurisdiction and where and how signage might be procured. The only signage that I could find was next to the fire station, and this was a bike, the bike route, cycleway sign. But it really didn't indicate that there was a tunnel or any other safety. And so from the north, you come down through Klein Falls Highway, and you're and past the fire station, get a tunnel of coffee there. Signage that clearly indicated the tunnel across Highway 20 would be really helpful. Coming up from the south, or either Obi Riley or Bailey, it's very confusing. People have to Obi Riley, how to go up Wood and over and onto the Pike path. So some time really is needed. The folks come down Obi Riley and really don't know where to turn. So that's my suggestion today. I'm happy to participate however is needed. Funding is needed for signage, certainly something. People are helping with various organizations.
Have you approached maybe the group about it?
No, I wouldn't know who else approach. It's a little bit of a labyrinth to figure out who owns what.
And Kurt did email us, so Dave and I have seen his original concern a few weeks ago. He sent us stuff, so we did start doing some digging, and so Christian is with ODOT. And I think you can maybe to keep the meeting going, we can either circle back to this at the end, or if you want to talk offline.
Whichever works best for you, and this one now will take away.
Okay, let's table it to the end. Usually public comment isn't necessarily a back and forth time, but we can certainly revisit at the end of the meeting.
Sure.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public want to comment? But do you have any comment, or did you can also do a report on later when we do kind of organizations? Okay. All right, skipping the approval of the minutes, we're just gonna move on to the business. And so our first exciting note here is we're gonna introduce new members. Two of them are here today, one of them couldn't make it, but at the end of the table there, we have Megan Winchell. And she was appointed to a term that ends June 30th, 2026. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you for the welcome, and excited to be part of the BPAC. A little bit about myself. I've lived in the area for about 40 years now. Small business. Moved to Bend about a year ago, but used to live here. Avid runner and hiker, not as much of a cycler, but so happy to be here and to be part of this group.
No, yeah. Next up, a more familiar face, Kim Curley. Which one would you like to go by? Curly or
Curly's good.
Curly, okay. And Curly.
Unless I'm checking in a hotel and then
Yes. You won't tell, and she also has been appointed to a seat that will run through June 30th, 2026.
Hi, my name's Kim. I've lived in Central Oregon since 2000. Yeah. I've worked at a nonprofit, and related, nonprofit that served Eastern Oregon for 20 years. And I started my own business in January. So I'm a project management consultant. I write grants, I do grant administration, and I was telling my carpool partners all about my myriad of small projects that I'm working on right now. So I'm excited to be here. My interests really are mobility for people who don't drive. So biking, walking, and transit, especially for folks who have mobility issues, live in a wheelchair or blind, who still need to get around our community. That's my.
Right, well, great to have you here again. And last but not least, Patrick Davo was chosen, and I don't know how we got what seats, so it was just random. The seat goes through June 30th, 2027, and he is but he's very involved with ordering the dog sport.
Yeah, you see, that's.
So excited to participate as well. He just already had conflict this week, and but again, really another person who would speak really well to people with mobility needs and challenges. So excited to have him on board as well.
And he did come to the summit for a brief time.
Yeah.
For those of us who've been on the interview committee or had a way of sort of knowing him, I was able to speak with him for a few minutes, but yeah, so he made that, but wasn't able to make it today.
Thank you. We will do our summit after action review here in a few minutes, but we do have the things coming up, kind of annual report and our Safe Sidewalks Awards, that we need to kind of make some decisions on, move forward with. We've got some timeline issues here, so we're really focused on putting that summit together, so it turned out really great. So now we got real work to do. So Tanya, can you give us just a refresher on where we are at the Safe Sidewalk Awards and your recommendations?
Yeah, absolutely, thanks. So as we know, the Safe Sidewalk Awards were really popular this year, and that's awesome. I think there were, Dave did a great spreadsheet with summarized it all, and I don't remember, but it was something like 32 nominations for 20 something people. One guy had like a committee of people who really liked him, or shoveled a lot. So basically, the idea is that we present those to the winners. They're all winners. Literally, I think we over them at the presentation in front of the board of county commissioners that coincides with the annual report. Since we don't know that date yet, we have not contacted the winners yet, because we don't want to, hey, come at the end of May, and then we, push it off. So, and I will say as staff, I would humbly request some assistance when this time comes of a volunteer to contact all these people. Some of them have emails, and that's easy. Some of them don't. So my involves a phone call, possibly one person is not reachable at all because they were just like, Joe. It wasn't super helpful, but maybe there could be some digging with the person who nominated them, that type of thing. So once this gets sorted out in terms of timeline, I would appreciate if somebody could just take an hour or two to help contact those people and tell them when and where. Initially, we were going to tell them to show up. We were going to just tell them to hang tight until we have a date, but it should be great. And I will notice since I have the mic, that May is now for the BOCC. I was told this last night. Because they have budget week, it really smushes everything into the second half of May. So I would advise that we select a date for this presentation now and just hustle to get to it and just lock it down. And then I can go back and forth with me, just confirming that date's in the middle, but it looks like really doable on the board side.
Yeah, what are the board dates?
Generally Wednesdays. Every Wednesday mornings, yeah, the meetings started at 9. We try to put that at the top of the meetings, so people don't have to hang out and listen to lots of other stuff. Unless they want to.
Tanya,
Yes.
It's passed already.
That would be awesome. Thank you. You're right.
June 11th. That's too far.
It's up to you, I mean, it's, you know, I have to prepare the materials and send them in a week before, so, which is, my part's very easy, it's just, that's the timeline, it's fine. I would have to confirm with their admin on the board side, but. it should work.
Yeah, since May's a crunch, I mean, that seems.
Yeah,
What did we talked about last time about whether we should or shouldn't do it in the fall? Try to get people a little bit more excited about maybe snow removal when it gets to that time. And I was saying, hey, let's do it sooner than later. Like now that we're moving kind of towards summer, it may not be seen as impactful to get more. It's 80 degrees, about 70 degrees.
you know, was it you who had the idea of like, yeah, do it now, but then also when we do something else. in the fall?
Yeah, like recognizing last year's, what are we calling it?
Safe sidewalk.
Awardees.
We recognize the awardees at the first snowfall and remind, like, that's kind of the time when you're combining those communications.
Right.
But yeah, I agree, we also probably could just put something. Pick a timeline that's still at winter for next year. So we don't have to wait, you know, make a decision and then get on schedule for, you know, because it does, you know, all over here, but.
Yeah, I think the 11th, yeah, we can do that, and then that segues into the next topic of the annual report. We were kind of feeling we tried to do it at the same meeting, board of commissioners meeting, so. And so, yeah, that gives us a good amount of time to get those two things wrangled up. So we need somebody, or we need people to kind of put together that report, annual report to them. And then, yeah, I can present it, obviously. You can all show if you want to, like that, I don't know, I've never been involved with presentations, so I don't know if we- whatever we want to do, honestly, I think having all the safe sidewalk people and probably a sort of friends and family, and, you know, it's gonna be a bit of a spectacle, which I think is kind of fun. But as far as, I think in the past, we've had some BPAC members be in the audience, of course, it's a, you know, 9 AM on a Wednesday, so it's a little tricky, but, you know, people are welcome to come and sit there. Sit at the table or help present, or it's kind of free form. Okay. I'll do this. Yeah.
And didn't we decide to keep the annual report on the briefer side? 'Cause at one point in time, we got quite lengthy, and I think now it's just kind of bullet the highlights, and so it doesn't have to be huge.
Yeah, I had hoped to look at last year's report, which was quite brief, and I ran out of time, but. We need to cover the letters we've written. Is this a 2024 report, so it's from January? Does it matter, or should we cover up to where we are now?
I don't know. We have to look at the previous one and see what.
Seems like it'd be just right to look current, yeah.
That's,
Sense,
that
yeah.
would be the best thing, I think.
Yeah. Relevant.
So letters, the summit, what else would we like?
So what all we've ever covered in the past. Highlights of the year and then something.
Well, I'll volunteer to the 12 or 14 months of minutes and pick out highlights and who would like to help pitch that together. Okay.
Oh, you know, we're headed. Probably easiest thing to do is just get through all the little minutes and. I think you can. You know, start looking through that, but see a lot of things that you're working on that you forget about, so.
Right, maybe took a representation from BPAC on other committees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what the, no, that's what the other.
No, we do have some experience here, we sat through many of these in the past, so it's got a pretty good idea, I think, of what we have done. Not have seen yet.
And I'll just confirm, but assume that you love this, okay? But I will confirm it the next day or two. So I'll just get dates that I need. So, yeah, if people are interested, you can kind of put a placeholder on the calendar if you wanted to participate in that or show up or anything like that, so. I'll do it right now, because I will forget. And obviously, Megan, since you're new and if that gets a little unwieldy, with Tanya, it's lovely to work with and to walk you through it, but you know, if you feel like it's too much, you got questions, you can always reach out to us. 'Cause it's- you know, so. But yeah, I think we've got like, there's too many, you know, split it. All right. Okay, I did put, I forgot, I did put, a little bullet point in here, if you wanted to talk about, you know, some other signage concern. Then Tom and Chris have been doing some digging on that. Already, so yeah, we can talk about that now or later. I think we're doing, yeah, if you got a couple minutes, yeah, we're doing well on time.
Sure, I guess I'll start, even though caveat Tanya, this is a county roadway, so there's a road authority in terms of signage. Put on my ODOT hat, I was the one who funded the project, I'm also on the scenic byways committee, so just a little flag here. So yeah, you mentioned we do have the signage that we intended to put up is complete, so there's that one that turned right. And then there's another sign over on 4th Street in front of the school that points towards the tunnel.
Sometimes if you're both, if you put.
So that's the intended signage, so we have considered it complete, that's consistent with what we do for scenic byways in general. In terms of the other signage, this isn't to say that it is not needed, but the scenic bikeway is one directional, it was designated one directional. Most likely because of that crossing in the past. It's way better now, but it is one directional, hence why there's no signage coming the other direction. So, you know, that northbound will be Riley and then the other direction on Bailey. That's why there's no signage. In terms of some of this other stuff, working on how to fix it, raise the awareness, you're totally right. We should always do a better job. We've done a poor job of updating these. I put in a request to scenic bikeways to update their map. And fix their cue sheet. I don't think that'll happen anytime soon. The scenic bikeways program is unfortunately a lot of flux over at OPRP. So I would like them to, and that in terms of, sorry, looking at your email from the past, updated Google Maps and I forget what the other one, right, GPS. I put a note, we will do that when we submit, ODOT occasionally submits any suggestions, it's not that often and it's not that effective, but we have done it in the past, so I'll put a note in there to hopefully update that. What we're really hoping for is other folks who use this route, people in Strava, you know, it will get out there. But the data here, it is way more comfortable and safe than going across that roundabout. So I want people using it, but in terms of putting up signage, that's sort of a separate question. How we don't know how far that would go, but it wouldn't be scenic bikeway signage because it's one directional. Fine, so. Yeah, sorry, I wish I had a better answer for you. I'm not trying to dismiss it. I totally agree that we want more people using it. But sort of from that end, we sort of hit those south that will be like we don't put warning signs and turn and have 100 feet on scenic bikeways. It gets kind of complicated because the multiple jurisdictions are scenic bikeways are overlaying on top of roadways owned by different people. So like this one, Twin Bridges, this city of Bend Road, this county, ODOT. So it's difficult. That's why we have generally minimal signage. Hopefully that's helpful. I know that's hard to get at it. but-
So I just clarify, so as far as ODOT's concerned, it's satisfied the needs of the city. Bikeway signage in the tunnel, and that was its purpose. If additional signage were needed for bike and safety issues. Right, keep people from using the roundabout, you might be like directing them, because. Feeding bikeway is just a route.
Right.
Cyclists go north and south, the east and west, and east in all directions and so on. Currently, 2/3 are using the roundabout, probably not safe, but that's an awareness issue, frankly. So would that become a county issue now, if they wanted to add additional signage?
Yes,
people that way?
because these roadways are all county roadways, including the back of the tunnel.
I'm a little confused.
Right.
I'm a little confused because I'm looking at our senior transportation planner from the county, his email, and he was saying that the right of way transfer hasn't happened yet to the county.
It hasn't, yes, it hasn't been fully completed.
Okay, okay.
So that multi-use path. ODOT took it on to purchase the right of way to build the tunnel and the path for the county. So then we take it back.
Okay, so then once we have it,
Yes.
which is, do we know? I feel like a lot.
These ideas.
Yeah. Then it would be a road department question. My understanding.
Kind of, most of the signs, I think all of the signs recommended on Kurt's list right here, are all of county roads. So they're not really on that path,
I see.
so,
So
yeah.
that's on Christoti or the
I
road?
guess so. So yeah, Brian seemed to think that it was not.
I think BPAC is the right place to start. and
Yeah.
Work with Kirk and custodian and figure out what's possible because, I mean, the county doesn't have any paths except this one in the county. And I understand what Chris told us a couple years ago. So this is new for them and we should be involved with figuring out what.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to caught this interjurisdictional thing because it's not safe for people to be using it if they're going through the roundabout, so we need to get that going, yeah.
So I can try to get Chris Doty in this conversation, so I'm just looking at it, and see what his thoughts might be. And either come to a meeting to participate or relay his information to you by email.
Right. And Chris Blake from the city of Bend has been working with people to design wayfinding signage for Bend and has been working with Bend Park and Rec. I realize this is completely out of there, but they have some ideas that we might be able to use in conjunction with the county to figure out sort of the standard for bike.
Right, and there's also in county code, it's title 10, there are restrictions and regulations about signs within the right of way. Where we can sort of be subject to that, just add another layer.
I don't. You have the school that gives you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Trying to get.
Yeah.
Students back and forth.
I will engage, the road department, and see what they can offer.
Now, that's an important point because most of that path was built for school access. So it would be helpful and it would be useful. The same signage, kids are being useful for that.
How do I
Raise my hand.
raise my hand?
Signs are great, and also human beings need to be told things, and maybe like a ribbon cutting or a party under there
with donuts or something. And invite people and say, hey, people who ride bikes, this is here for you as a safety amenity in our community. So I don't know what agency might host something like that. It is Bike to Work Day in May 19th, I think it's the day. But May is Bike Month, so it would be it would be quick, but it would be a fun thing to raise awareness.
Wow, good ideas, thank you. Yeah, I was just talking to somebody today that the tunnel existed and, you know, just a good reminder of like, yeah, it's, you know, a lot of people who don't know it's there, so.
Is there such a group that you can think of, Kim, that could possibly pull something like that off? Would have staff and wherewithal, the option?
I mean, it's kind of ultimately, we still have ODOT County, I mean,
Right.
yeah. Have to be involved in. I don't know if they want to move that fast.
Well, even a sign is enough, to ribbon cutting or something, at least it draws, you know, awareness of people in the cycling community, you know, obviously you have a lot of contacts there. Can start getting that out a little bit more without waiting for all of. Going through the jurisdictional stuff.
Is this in the overlay of the MPO?
I believe so.
Oh.
So it's not like by that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember going down to the tunnel open and. I just don't know if that's another organization that.
Yeah, the MPO would be worth asking. Our MPO rep is you, now who's the MPO rep? Yeah. Well, maybe you could double check and just see if there's.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that the process is we're gonna, with your willingness for us to get that Kurt, we're gonna take it and bring it to a calendar and bring it to Chris under the guise of BPAC. And with this being supporting the information, and then we'll wait and get back to what they say. Yeah, okay.
So the MPO and it's wonky, it doesn't actually. It's just pulling up the MPO boundaries, the tunnel and the path that was built are actually outside of the MPO boundary. But 4th Street all the way to the intersection before the path.
Solvable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless everybody says no, and then.
It doesn't hurt though to bring it to the attention of the MPO because they can generally, they're very supportive of this kind of thing
It
too.
is the right people at the MPO, the county will be there, the city will be there. ODOT will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And part of the overlay and connecting down to Tunnel was specifically because of the potential trail connection as well. So, you know, that was part of the conversation. So is there a request for an invite? What's the idea of connection now that we know that it's not in the MPO? Just mention it. I'll mention it next week. Yeah, great.
We'll start with that, ultimately it's kind of in the county's.
Yeah.
Seat now and to see. How staff responds, you know, if it's a suitable response, great, and if not, then we can try to. Yeah, get other entities involved.
So BPAC does have a seat at the MPO, so that's why we say just use
Yeah.
that. Because like Chris was saying, the right people are gonna be there around the table. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. And then one other thing, and then we get on to our first presentation here. Just wanted to do a little bit of the summit after action review. Just wanted to kind of capture while it's still fresh in our minds of good things, things to work on for next time, so we can log that and put it in the folder, and so we'll have that ready for next year. So I think overall it went really well. I think much thanks to Dave Green. Yeah, you're the nexus of it, so thank you very much. And thanks for making the weather good. Underestimate you. Yeah, so, yeah, maybe it's, top of mind, are there any elements of who participated, liked or didn't like, or, you know, things that we really need to keep in mind when we're planning this? We start planning, which will probably be in a few months, anyway, for the next one.
What do you think had the most engagement from the people in the audience? What do you think had the most engagement from the people in the audience? at the summit?
Things in the morning. But, you know, it's tough, I mean, it's, I don't think it's just this topic or anything, I mean, anytime you do like a day-long event. It's really hard to capture people for the entire day, so, maybe. You know, being more mindful of what you really want to have in the early part of the day, you know, you can have your largest audience then. And or trying to plan something in the afternoon, that's just so irresistible that people will stay. For instance, I mean, the speaker after lunch, I think was great.
Good.
Which is a shame that, you know, half the people that left, there's still a lot of people left, but, you know, but she was a great speaker and a good presentation, so.
The only thing I'll add is that we struggled, I stood in the back trying to help people get seated and stuff. And we got a mic later, but it was tough to hear in the back of the room what anybody was saying up front. So I don't know if we have to, if we go back to Ben Park, maybe there's clip mics or something that they have. Because you were running around like crazy trying to hand it off mics to people, and it distracted. So whether we have it there or someplace else, we need to do something about the microphone. People being able to hear.
And I think, it's really, so that was really learning for me, because they had automatic mics in the ceiling, they store will work. Okay, and so being more familiar with the idea. Yeah.
I still struggle a little bit with trying to do it as a
You turn it on, you turn it off. Oh, you guys can leave them on too.
I struggle a little bit with the tri-county aspect of it because we didn't get much participation from the other counties. And I almost feel like going back to, what was it, the act that decided the Central Oregon Area Commission on Transportation that we should take this on. Because when we're not getting participation from these other counties that we're trying to get involved, maybe they need to just have their own BPACs and just, they need to take it and do something with it. Because I felt a little frustrated, I think, with that, to be honest. Just that, you know, why are we spinning our wheels around trying to make this be a tri-county thing when we don't get much back from the counties that we're trying to reach out to? And that's just, I'm sorry, I'm throwing a negative thing out at the very end, but I struggled with that a little bit.
No, I think that's really important. I don't think we have any long-term connection with the other two counties, one. And so why would they participate in a one-day event? So.
Well, the other thing is, you should go to their counties. We don't have it in Deschutes County. If you're gonna do it for Jefferson County, go to Jefferson County,
Yeah, and that was.
which we had done before.
Yeah, and we had talked, before about going from county to your rotation. So at least 2 out of 3 years, we would be in another county.
Then it's harder to get people from all the whole, around the whole area, and it's a full day there to monitor, so it's a long, you know, and then you have more cars on the road and more people traveling to get there. So we tried to find something maybe a little bit more central for this one, we're sort of playing around with what to do with it.
But it's, I think when you're concerned about whether this is really a tri-county event or it should be a Deschutes County event, was a question that we need to come to grips with.
Well, I know the year before when we had the Sun River, we really didn't get the participation. We didn't get the participation even from the northern part of Deschutes County. The Redmond aspect was was there, but it was a whole lot less than even this time. So the minute we start moving things around, if we were to say, let's go to Madras to have a tri-county summit, the number of people we're gonna get from Deschutes County is gonna drop like a big rock.
That's,
So Wendy, you may be right in that instead of calling this a tri-county thing, maybe we just, we're Deschutes County, maybe stay with Deschutes County.
I think there's an opportunity though too, because I think you do have to show up. You want the participation piece, that it's just not the broad collective large conference that is the thing that we're trying. But there's another way to engage in person where we can have that collaborative thing, but it's more of a gathering of like the smaller gathering of people that is more a part of their day job rather than the like trying to get broad attendance. Biggest thing that we put effort into planning, that might not be the space to be doing that attempt at the tri-county. But I know that just the way that it's suggested through the Central Oregon area, that provides some challenges. But I'm just thinking that maybe if we just have an annual, like some different type of annual meeting that's not the tri-county summit is a better way to engage in person in those other places rather than the tri-county summit.
I guess we have to identify what our summit goal is.
That's
If it's to fill the room with more people, keep it in bed. If it's trying to get the whole community, regardless of the three counties, to connect, then it's better to move it. And so we went to one in Madras, I've seen in Bryanville a while back.
yeah.
That was really well put together. It let us know what they were trying to accomplish. We were able to help support them. Then they were able to kind of understand what BPAC was. And so that's the one I can look at as an example of, hey, that worked. But if our goal is to get more people there, you're not going to, we have to identify what our goal is first.
On a slightly different topic, but still related to this, the panel that we put together was too incoherent, and that was primarily because the Madras representative had to back out the last 2 days, and the final had an early road boundary discussion with the state all week that week. And so we picked the date that it was completely unusable to them. And so they sent somebody from CODA. So the three-county, the idea of having a three-county summit when we do all the planning to just sort of invite them at the last minute isn't a way to do a three-county.
It might be worse, from a COAC, if you're official COAC member as well. I need to go back and revisit that agreement. Really. First of all, see what it is. I think it's, I've never actually seen it. I've just heard the tales of it. So,
We don't have our issue until September, so we'll try to bring it up.
yeah.
And then they want help with funding if they want us to do it, because that's the other thing is we're struggling to put funding together.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, we should probably move on.
We're gonna have funding stall, $125 transferred, 3 government agencies.
Last week sometimes like cost. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So,
Maybe just add something that would be either now or in the future when we do these, is there some way we can have people that participate or come? Have some little walk away with a survey of some sort that, what did you like, what did you not like? Why didn't you stay? And, is this too long? Those kind of things with the participants. Just get their input.
Which I think if we use, maybe Matt can speak to it, but, we use, whatever e-bike platform that we use, there's always ways to kind of send, not everybody's email, so, yeah, send that back out.
Yeah, Matt here. I was just gonna add, I think we could still send a survey. I know it's been close to a month, but to get some more feedback. When I sent the follow-up email, I said, PS, respond to this email with any comments or suggestions, and didn't get any that I saw come through. So, but yeah, I think we could still pull together a simple survey to try to get some of that info. But yeah, it's a little late, I guess, now turning this corner, but yeah, I think that information would be helpful.
So I think the only other thing that I'd mention is that the reason it took us so long to get organized is finding a location. And the number of sort of public inexpensive places to meet in the area was pretty slim.
Your budget. Yeah. Yeah, that was the big hurdle, running.
I think if we wanted to make a more formal partnership, so then there's with somebody that could handle the like paying for things. It sounded like there were a lot of people willing to chip in. I know the MPO request for a couple $100, they said we were expecting, like you could very easily ask for like another order of magnitude. That would be like a normal request for an event like this that they would be willing to support. And so, but I know that that's hard to do internally, but like we could find a partner that would be willing to actually partner on the event, then the money could go to them and they could pay it out. I think that would make finding a spot easier because then you know that you can actually pay for a spot. Because that was like a big part of it was trying to find a free space and how much of a budget do we have for it. And so I think there's some opportunity there that might grease the wheels and make it easier to say, if we want people to stick around after lunch, we need to provide lunch. That's an option. Or have people pay. All of those things were a lot harder because we couldn't handle. And
Yeah, definitely an event that during did it literally pennies. It was really good.
Yeah.
But it was also, you were left with that, wow, if we actually had some money, it could have just been that much more better.
No, I was just saying, we're finding a lot of things that didn't work about it. But when I walked away from the event, I thought it went really well. And as far as we had great interaction, I saw a couple of my friends that were at it that I had no idea they had an interest in the whole community and feedback at all. So they were just showing up because they had heard about it. So I think it was successful.
Yeah, I did see it show up in weird places on my computer and TV and newspapers and stuff like that. So I think, the media was good.
Yeah. I think the media outreach that I saw was better than we had on any other summit. I mean, TV, paper, radio. I was what? What?
Yeah.
I was so shocked to see that much advertising, so to speak, or information out. So that was good to see.
And that was really easy.
Yeah.
Tanya had somebody in the county put out a press release and I sent information to all the TV stations and source and the bulletin. They just did.
It was great.
That's why Mark Papavano came. He said at the last minute that morning, he saw something about it. He goes, oh, the summit's today. I'll go check that out for a little while. So, yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, we do need to move along, but obviously if you have any other things to pop up, because, myself or Dave will file this on the page, it's again, it's on the folder, on the shared drive, so. Okay, now we have a sisters presentation, since we are in beautiful Sisters, Oregon, and, I'd like to, or he can introduce himself, there at the wheel. Jackson.
Hi, Jackson Dumanch, project coordinator with the City of Sisters Public Works Department. And okay, I have See you.
Back, walk us through, these are projects, these are, keep it up, these are past, present, and future, and a little bit of finger crossing, hoping projects, so a whole bunch of stuff.
Thank you, Mayor Letts. So yeah, collection of bike and ped infrastructure projects that we have completed, ongoing, and crossing fingers for. Yes, give me 1 second. Test. Little 1 second. Test. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so the first one up is the McKinney Butte Road safety improvements. This project came about after the elementary school relocated to the west end of town by the middle and high school. Considering the additional traffic that we'd be seeing out there, we decided to do a pedestrian safety improvements out there. Big three are 3 raised crossing tables in the vicinity of these schools. Get to a picture of those in the moment. We removed kind of an odd mid-block crossing here and moved it to an intersection with appropriate signage and ADA ramps. Added, little frame of reference, connection point down to here. Added a crossing where none existed right here. Added a crossing where none existed right here, and also reconfigured the corner a little bit just to shorten that crossing distance and formalize that a little bit better. And then right here, where Dairy Queen is and Arrowleaf going up to Ray's, added a crossing there because we noticed quite a few folks crossing there where there was no formal crossing.
Yeah, that last one on that end was also the citizen that was into a lot of our meetings with public comment and we need more crossings there, so he was supposed to come today 56, so kudos to her for just one person making the difference, getting that on a radar.
And then there's an image of one of the raised crossing tables with reboundable signs in the center lane. They've been working really great on getting folks to slow down, just the abundance of signage and additional things in the driver's field of view really brings it to their attention that it's a school zone. Kids are going to be crossing. They've been working great so far. We've heard great things from the school. They even have crossing guards out there during morning drop off and seem to be working great.
You heard anything about the public works about snow plowing in those?
We haven't had any issues with snow plowing. Yes, so I can go back. These two here were originally completed right before the school year began. This one here was completed over spring break, just a month ago or so. So yeah, they worked great. No complaints from the crews about snow plowing. The only thing that we had to keep in mind is getting in between these. And we take care of that with our path plower, ATV vehicle that does the multi-use paths down there. They just take it through the middle and clear any snow that builds up from the plows. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the side of that highway, the development is a really dense neighborhood. Not full of families, but definitely because of it, the school, all the schools, so close by, it's really high percentage of students in that neighborhood. So this is, I think, a huge difference in getting more people to walk and bike. They just weren't really very good crossing before, so much better now.
Yeah, and the one we completed over spring break connects 2 mid-block crossings. There's a path right here and then a path here leading down. So quite a few kids were just informally crossing there. So this was a great spot to add a raised crossing table.
For people who might not be exactly as aware. Could you point out exactly where the new elementary school is on
Sure.
the map? Because it's not really that obvious just looking.
This location here is the new elementary school where McKinney Butte meets just off the picture, Highway 242. And then yes, here's the high school and middle school down here with the field.
How did your
They did not have any concerns. They're low enough where they don't significantly impact a large vehicle traveling at speed limit. You do feel it if you're going over, but it won't significantly impact you driving the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit, 20 during school drop off and let go. Off the top of my head, I don't have that number. There's no curbing out there. I would encourage folks visiting them. They're amazing. But for frame of reference, the path does have to come up a little bit to get to that elevation. Moving on, this is another project that was completed, I want to say, about 2 years ago. It's the North Pine Street multi-use path connecting the Forest Service property, Cascade, to Barclay Drive to the north. It's on the west side of North Pine Street. And once it was completed, it creates a loop around that entire Forest Service Woodlands property. We might be able to get some more pictures later on.
There's a lot of development going on in that, the triangle there as well, a lot of housing going in there.
There we go. So this is the north, this is Barclay Drive here, Pine Street, connecting into that path along there. This crossing was reformed. It was previously right here. We just moved it over here to better align with the both other ends. It's a little hard to see, but there is also a multi-use path running down the north side of Barclay, both connecting to the roundabout to the west.
Kind of one very thought there about housing and some commercial, some retail in there too. A lot easier to build it before.
And it's been getting a lot of use. A lot of folks are out there.
Several times, but I've just had time out here. It's very nice compared to how it used to be when there wasn't any path there. You just walk.
Was that built by the developer or?
By the city. That was through the ODOT Small City Allotment grant program. Next up, the Hood and Pine intersection. This is an intersection that a lot of residents had concerns about. No recorded incidents up until it was reviewed by the Public Works Advisory Board and we started moving forward on the project. We got our first recorded incident. Thankfully, no injuries, just a minor vehicular collision, but it really drove home the need to get moving on this project. Involved with it were the removing of a turn lane that you see hashed out here and making it a four-way stop. Prior, Pine Street had through movement. We added solar-powered flashing stop signs and stop stencils to the new stop locations. And so far, it's been working really great. A lot of folks were really happy to see this one go in.
Has the eliminated the turn lane made traffic flow better? Because I know in Bandit Leaf where they have through lanes and then turn lanes on where there's just stop signs, it's always a madhouse. Anybody trying to figure out who goes next. I know people supposedly know that.
I think for some reason a lot of folks thought it was a four-way stop and continued to think so, though it was not. Having a turn lane there just added to the confusion. So removing that made it a lot more clear on whose turn it is to go and when to go, and just made traffic a lot smoother through there.
Was this primarily safety to make the intersection safer, or was it just slow traffic down? Or?
Safety. And I'm sure you all saw it on your way in today. The new roundabout at US 20 and Locust. Yep. I've been using it a lot, just seeing how it works and checking out the landscaping around there. It works great. It's nice to be able to cross Locust safely with some peace of mind. It's been a great help for pedestrians trying to get from one side of the city to the other.
And I like how it slows traffic down
Mhm.
because of the curves and I think ODOT did a good job on that. Looking at our ODOT rental over here, but I think it works very well and it does slow people down by adding.
Sort of, there's also on some sides a little bit of a slingshot effect that people kind of actually speed out coming out of it, so. But, yeah, that intersection was so horrible for bikes head. But again, you know, roundabouts aren't always the best thing for biking pedestrians, however, it was so bad before this is such a phenomenal positive. People actually use it and people stop. I mean, the sight lines are good. I haven't had anybody try to run into me or not see me or anything. Which was a constant when I had to cross that 4 times a day before. Saw so many accidents and almost accidents, things like that. So.
Chris,
Nice.
can you answer a question for me? Yeah, it appears that, describing this right, it appears when you come into that, especially from Bend, it's almost like the roundabout, I'm sure it's maybe for water drainage or whatever, but it's like the roundabout itself is higher by maybe only a foot or two from the surrounding. And so when you come into that, it's kind of hard to see where the curb line is because you're having to look up, trying to figure out where you got to go. So I'm just kind of curious. It seems like it's higher than the surrounding street interconnection. The roundabout portion itself, the road portion seems to be like you're going up from, I don't care which one of the 4 directions you're coming from. But it's just line of sight for me. Trying to figure out exactly where the lane is, because if you go to the one that's out east of Bend, the one they put in, what's a handbrake one, it's the center part of it seems to be lower, or is it what I consider ground level, or the other side. It just seems like on this one, you go uphill. I don't care which way you're coming from.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but for me, it made it line of sight a little bit harder.
Interesting. I can look into it. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if it's specifically designed for drainage or anything like that.
Because the one at the other end of town is kind of really at street level, and it's easy to see where all the curb lines are and the lanes are and stuff. It's just first time I went through this, I wasn't exactly sure where to go.
Yeah.
It's a little tricky right now because we haven't just starting to do landscaping. Yeah, so it is a landscape right now that don't have those visual cues.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
That's my perception.
But I mean, I think it does sit up higher, and I don't know if that's drainage. Yeah, you can see the massive swale there at that right corner.
And maybe it's
There's no storm drain.
maybe it's just water runoff or whatever, but first time through it was like, I think I'll go here.
Yeah. I can ask about that. Again, I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Why you maybe said high. Great.
Yeah, all the other ones I've ever seen, Ampere or the one at the north end, it just seems to be more on the level plane or whatever you know.
I forgot I had in there a nice little top-down diagram of the roundabout. Up next, we have our transportation hub, formerly known as the East Portal. This is on the west end of town. You'll notice Le Schwab Tires is right here. This is when the road starts to veer northwest a little bit on your way towards Rays and the commercial district over there. Former U.S. Forest Service rest stop site, city acquired. Oh, I don't recall the exact date. Some years ago. Went through a master planning process on turning it into a transportation hub. Completed design and construction of phase 1 is nearly complete, set for substantial completion by the end of the fiscal year, June 30th. This is phase 1 right now. Yeah. So everything you see in the dark gray, in addition to the paths around what would be the western and southern side of the property, and then internal to the site. So what was existing was the restroom facility and the informational kiosk. There was a small little loop, parking loop right here. We relocated the entrance to align with Felicity Lane. We have parking area. This here is RV pull through with RV dump. Pull out exit. This lane here is bus only or 3 sawtooth drop-offs. We currently have benches and bike racks in, and we are working on getting bus shelters. Not currently. It's not open yet. So yeah, multi-use paths are on the site, connecting to Highway 242 as well as the existing path on the highway side. We have our standard dark sky compliant bollard lighting that you see on most of our multi-use paths around town, meanders around the mature ponderosa pines. Really a great walk, especially considering there's some great mountain views at the west end of this area. We are hoping that this can serve as a trailhead for these existing scenic bike routes in town. Currently, that trailhead is at Village Green Park, kind of central in the town. This would put it in an area with more accessible parking, wouldn't conflict with park use, and also puts you right at the start of one of them being the Highway 242 scenic bike path.
Likely, right? And few other things in order that the landlord there and stuff like that. We really want it to be property that's used constantly, right, for safety. I think it's big property might not use it, but for safety issues as well, right? People don't like transit centers that are all lonely, and you can get a little scared, intimidated. So we're trying to co-locate other things there so we can get like these throughout the day. And then right across the street, there's a brand new apartment complex. She's opened at ribbon cutting yesterday, and that's 84 units. Right across the street. So, yeah. And then there's a couple other new apartment complexes. Very, very close to this, you're gonna block or two. So, worked out really well. We're gonna have more transit fund. So, yeah, we're excited for it to get going.
This paths mean is it just to save trees? I noticed that on the other one, the North Pine one as well. Is that the conscious choice that you guys are making regarding, well, to save trees, but also to slow things down?
Yeah, I think it also adds an aesthetic appeal for the pedestrian. Also, it slows down bikers. If they're traveling at speed, that could be dangerous to other people on the path. It slows them down a little bit. And it's just the site has many really old big trees that we just really wanted to retain. Yeah.
All good things.
Yeah.
And you can't see here, but the Sisters Community Labyrinth is being retained. Yep. So that will remain. And I managed to get this shot yesterday while we had some nice sunny weather. This is the main drop-off island with benches. We got some bike racks. Another raised crossing here leading to the restroom site over here. Kiosk is off to the left. Yes.
And then there will be not on there yet, but there will be a deputy crossing where. Put out in that top left corner meets with Highway 20. The developer on the other side is going to pay for that. That's my understanding. They're starting to get to that portion of their property. After master plan, so they're going to put a crosswalk there. It is a very long stretch without a crosswalk. From downtown all the way to the roundabout. So but there will be one going in there. Okay.
And if I recall, rectangular rapid flashing beacons as well. Barclay Drive improvements. This is the overall corridor. This is Barclay Drive on the north side of town through our industrial park district. We have North Pine Street here. This was the intersection we saw for the North Pine Street path. Here is North Locust, just outside this window to my right here. This is the overall corridor. We ended up splitting it into phases, and the first phase is under construction at the moment, scheduled for completion mid-May. And pretty much cuts off right here at the edge of the image. It involves reconfiguring this intersection for North Locust into Barclay through movement, so that this can better function as an alternate route to the highway, help get some of that through traffic out of the downtown to maintain that friendly pedestrian feel to a downtown. Southbound traffic on Camp Polk will be stop controlled. We will have a two-way turn lane down the middle. Will be widened by a few feet on either side to accommodate for that, and then as well 8 to 10 foot wide multi-use paths throughout the corridor. On these connecting streets, we are adding some bulb outs with stormwater drainage, and also just to shorten that that travel distance for a pedestrian. Yes, this is the post office right here, and then the Deschutes County substation. And thermoplastic with the reflected beads. And for some reason, this image doesn't show it, but there will be continental crosswalks as you see here and here at this crossing right here.
Any sections, I know the last time that we came and talked about the last time we came and gave a presentation, it was great, and every time I come through town, it's so fun to know, like, I've told so many people about the roundabout bypasses that you have to be able to maintain for like a certain size truck. Fun conversation started. But I know we looked at this, and with the like changing travel pattern as like a potential new barrier for the current pedestrian connectivity to the north. And I've been looking at the map, and there's already not a ton of alignment of like where people would actually be funneled through, but did you consider where those points were? There's like the north-south pedestrian corridors, you consider a raised crosswalk there, even though it was a busier road, or anything else to improve that crossing so then this doesn't become the new barrier to connectivity?
I don't believe we were looking or considering raised crossings, but keeping in mind that some kind of enhanced crossing may be necessary. This is Sun Ranch right here. There's FICA Coffee, the old Three Creeks Brewing. This is a major north-south movement, and then also up here on Pine. So those are two that are
the next phase.
Yes.
Okay.
And we are
sorry.
No, sorry, we're keeping those in mind as being crucial north-south crossing points for pedestrians. Yeah.
Great, yeah, and even the multi-use path, like the fact that you have so much to work with really lucky. But yeah, I think that was the piece that I remember from last year, of just trying to figure out where people are currently doing it and where they would if if there's continued growth, both there and then also with traffic on this road of new businesses on the adjoining sides of this road. So, yeah, thanks.
Most likely ignoring the RTP process, most likely city is going out in that direction,
Right.
yeah, basically, right? And the Savannah image on the very right, it's gonna be, yeah, going out that way, so, that's definitely in the back of our minds of, there's gonna be a lot more, houses and activity out on that side as well, and trying to start those conversations around, how do we make sure that, that good bike had access, not have, parkway and focus become a barrier.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it Safe Meadow that the UGB is gonna go out to? Is that?
It's not, yeah, it's not done yet, we haven't defined the.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned, on there. It's because it's so much wider than it was before, but not with the area, just consider maybe like those in-street signs similar to the school. Or something vertical, I mean, we're going from 2 lane to almost 40 feet wide now, so. Even, I don't know, for the function of the truck bypass, we would be spaces, but maybe in-street ones that trucks can run over, or something like that. Could potentially make a lot more comfortable for crossing this road before the could be fast, pretty long distance for people walking.
I've been noticing some places where they'll just move the line on the road out, so it looks like there's an arrow of the road. We've seen that, they have that in several locations. That seems to be. This is visual, hey,
Just as a note, cycling road, Camp Oak, who comes in from the north, that is the included in probably a couple dozen road rides that go on toward the sisters. It's the end point. Right now, it's starting to get very congested as the trucks start using it more, not really much the shoulder along. So, a lot of your misses.
Stay tuned for another slide.
Okay.
Might have an answer to that.
Thank you for those comments, though, about the north-south crossing enhancements. Definitely keep that in mind as we move forward. Okay, moving to the south end of town, this is a project that is currently going through design. This is connecting Village Green Park right here to the Peterson Ridge Trail System at the south end of town, just past city limits. Multi-use path following the east side of the road, and then a pedestrian bridge crossing Wyches Creek, separated from the vehicular bridge. Quite a bit of a bottleneck, as you can see in that image, and quite a few folks utilize Village Green as some place to park while they walk or bike to that trailhead. Not to mention residents on the south side of town using that road to get north.
And that was always a horrible spot over that, when I lived over on Wapato, that was not always pleasant.
So yeah, we're still in design, working with a bridge engineer on designing the bridge. You might see some tree work going on over there if it hasn't already concluded. And so that one, I believe we're hoping to have constructed sometime before winter, if everything is going according to plan.
What
Street fund, I believe, at the moment. We tried going out for a couple grants, but did not get any funding. A couple attempts.
Yeah, it's really weird that some of the older streets in town are really wide right of ways, and so this one is actually a skew. So that's why it's going down. I mean, it works out really well for the most part. Going down that east side of it, because there's a huge right of way on that side. So I'm sure probably a couple of homeowners that are a little bit, but I mean, it's quite ample. So it's a lot of space to do it, so yeah. The bridge, that'll be really welcome. It's a really heavily used by people who's commuting, or I mean, especially runners, dog walkers, bikers, just that's the portal to the Forest Service, right there, so.
And just considering how much traffic comes into town from that road. Really nice to get some,
Fast some of it.
Yeah.
be nice to get folks off the road. And then just an image here showing this is Village Green looking south. And then here's the intersection of Tyee and Elm with the path for Peterson Ridge beginning there. I believe that was an old trailhead since been moved south. And then another project that came up, again, as we started to look at North Locust and Barclay acting as an alternate route, how do we make pedestrian crossing safer there? So just to orient ourselves, here's Sister City Hall, where we are right now. To the north would be Barclay. This is a project we applied for a small city allotment grant for this project that was just submitted the other day. So we have yet to hear on that one, but this project would involve reworking all four crossings at the Cascade Locust intersection, removing a turn lane here, which is not needed as much now since the old elementary school is not functioning as an elementary school, and there's not a whole lot of pick up and drop off of kids and vehicles coming in and out of there. Currently up here, there is only one landing on the west side of the road, so we're going to be adding a landing on the east side and then striping it. Up here at East Black Butte, there are no pedestrian facilities along here. So we're going to be connecting the existing sidewalks that are there to a path on the south side of the road and adding in ADA compliant crossings and striping to the path that is on the west side of Locust. If you go out there right now, you will see probably people making that crossing. If not, you will see the evidence of folks crossing just in the landscaping between the path and the road. So it's heavily used, and this would drastically increase pedestrian safety.
I feel that it looks like we're gonna come in and do the process, and then to the left, the empty field on the left, upper left corner there, that is within the city limits, currently undeveloped, so lots of rumors about that being developed for housing, so again, this would be great. It's a really long stretch. I've heard people complain about it. There's no crosswalks barely. And it's a very already 12 girls on the road in there. So
yeah, currently the only marked crossing is on the north side, that crossing right there, other than the roundabout. One thing to mention is right about here, it transitions from 25 miles an hour to 35 miles per hour. So because of that, we will be adding rapid flashing beacons at this crossing right here. And a few zoomed in photos of how that is going to look. We're going to add a little bit of a buffer between the path and the roadway right here. This crossing right here currently sits on the north side of a very large electrical pole, which creates a little bit of a sight barrier from northbound traffic. So we're going to be moving that crossing to a blended transition right on the corner. Same on the south side here. Making the alignment formal, highly visible.
yes, kids, that is their grant you do.
And this is the last slide. Adams Avenue streetscape. We've had this design completed for quite a few years now. I think it was recently revised in 2022. It would be bringing Adams Avenue and the connecting side streets up to the same kind of design standard that you see on Hood and Main Avenue currently. This is the far west end, far east end here. From Cedar to Fir would be a meandering multi-use path and parallel parking. It's a more residential area on this end. From Fir down to Pine, you get a lot more kind of mixed use industrial businesses. So there'd be standard sidewalk, concrete, and diagonal parking stalls. Bulb outs, landscaping, trees, everything you see on Hood or Main. This one's proposed to be included in next fiscal year budget. So fingers crossed one we're really excited about.
Thank you very much for asking for all your. Yeah.
Thank you.
Things that might go down.
There's
3,700, yes,
what's the square footprint?
it's less than 2 square miles.
There's a lot going on in smaller.
Yeah, I mean, what's the footprint?
I know by acre, it's about 44,300 square acres.
Many miles.
So much bigger.
Yeah.
It's like that. Racing.
Right.
Just, yeah.
Just out of comprehensive.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Jackson, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, we're running a little late, we started a little late, but we also got just a lot of topics today, sorry about that, and people need to go, that's fine, but we'll try to get through this. We'll do our meeting reports real quick, so we did have a COAC meeting, they wanna think about that?
Okay.
Might be going on too.
Yeah, it was an interesting meeting, so to speak. Sisters already had your discussion exactly what was there. Prineville is just working on some street extensions. We had to work with the irrigation district because there's right of way issues. From the state level, transportation funds package that the legislature is working on, and there's a multitude of different ideas. The ODOT did come across, they found they had a map there on some incoming funds. They're delaying projects, they didn't get into it. The state has come up with a capital investment plan, basically a state overall plan. Several people indicated what was all done, the plan presentation. There was literally nothing there for Central Oregon and East Oregon. It was all pretty much all Western Oregon. Commute options, they've now got to 18 van pools, which is helping dramatically. Ben talked about the new airport tower. There were some real issues there, and that it was an outside of Eastern Oregon or Central Oregon contractor. It goes back to the governor's executive order stating that all projects must be union based. And there's not a single company east of the Cascades that's union based. So any job will have to be west side contracting. County.
Yeah, the issue with that was it was somebody that. Yeah, you say the contractor's not paying their subs.
Yeah, he's not.
He's
Yeah, one that got it.
topic,
Yeah,
but.
that's right. He's not paying his subs. He plays union. County level, Chris Doty put on a little thing about the Sunriver roundabouts. Thought it was a little odd when he got done. He said, well, there'll probably be, we did our due diligence and put it out there for the public, and there'll probably be a few complaints, but they get what we build. I talked to him afterwards about what I thought the bike pedestrian design around it was not good. It was something that Ben built 30 years ago. And I have never met this man before in my life, so bear with me. He blew me up and walked away. He wouldn't even listen and talk to me. So it was an odd meeting. But anyway, that was cool.
Thank you. MPO Neil,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Mark, anything, South County?
No.
Okay, and then we did, I mean, hopefully, I did at the very last second, but I think. Hoping some of us have put in comments about the summer.
No, I appreciate that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there may be a little bit more of that. I was shocked. There's a fairly political group in there, they have something, but.
Okay. Okay. Then, Diana, you had any more, meetings, okay, all right, easy, all right, updates, is Anthony still on? Yeah, Anthony, do you have anything from the plan for us?
All right, there we go. Yeah, nothing super concrete. The 2045 Alpine Comprehensive Plan is ready for public hearing, and that's sort of taken a lot of the energy from city staff. So that's at the end of this month. Once that goes to public hearing and is hopefully approved, then we are moving into the TSP update, and the TSP update is when we are planning on working really closely with BPAC. So still kind of sitting on my hands, but there is momentum and progress that I can see very soon in the future. And then sort of as a tangent to this, or tertiary to the entire process, I am in talks with Coda and hoping to get a pump track built here in La Pine, because as of right now, I think we're the only Central Oregon city that doesn't have one, and it'd be pretty well used here. There's kids riding their bikes in the streets all the time, and I'd like to get them a place so they could do it not in front of traffic. So I'm working with Alex and Kira over at Coda to hopefully bring that in. Yeah, and then city council meetings moving forward. I will be addressing city council for 5 to 10 minutes every city council meeting about what we are doing with BPAC and how we are trying to make things better down here. So that's about it.
Well, I was at the summit, she, at the very end, she spoke up, so she did at least get some of our summit. That was nice.
Yeah, great, thank you, great.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Mark, anything else on the river? Or? Ben, you don't have anybody with Ben today. Sisters.
Maybe
Say that
one
over
thing
again?
I should mention is
Oh, okay, yes.
that we have a safety pathway task force. That we're not, we have about 60 or so people. I'd be on it.
Wow.
We got down to just, well, I think we have 40 people in the group, and we're broken into 3 different subcategories. And we're communicating with the plan, and this is going to be a process, and it's going to actually, it's just great to have that many people that are interested in the plan. So I'll give you an update on the different categories and what the outcome is, maybe next meeting. Yeah.
Okay, now, thank you. Redmond, Bob and Stone, or you saw? Sean? Okay. TCSO. You're on the agenda, so can you help me introduce yourself and you talk to one of the mics here, just.
Boy, I don't know. I'm gonna use his notes. Aaron Marty, Sergeant UCSO, been there 23 years. And am the only and newest member to our CAT team, which is basically active safety team. But I do other functions as well. As the guys started situations, problems. I really don't have anything to add. I'm just kind of taking it in and seeing what it's all about. So, but I'm welcome to, or you're welcome to contact me, reach out if you have any questions or concerns or things that you think the sheriff's office should be involved in or interest. So, and I can get you my contact information. It's actually really simple. It's just my email address there about parting issues.
Okay. Wow, thank you very much. I know that. Maybe the people that said there used to be law enforcement presence, in the committee, and so the county committee reached out to DCSO and You were volunteer too.
Well,
All
yeah.
participate, so yeah, I mean, anytime you feel like, you wanna say something or add something or present something. You're welcome to, we're like the law enforcement safety aspect of, you know, we're here because of, number one thing, safety, I think, you know, so.
I think we all have the same thing in mind. I like what I'm hearing.
Yeah, okay. Great. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Anya, is there anything? From our senior transportation planner, the clear and objective Title 17 amendments, which is not very exciting, but we are acknowledging it anyway, which is talking about the road standards and having the state requirement to make them clear and objective. That has been moving through the process. It's going to go for a board hearing in June. There's a handy website if anyone's interested. That is kind of it. And just to note that because this is running late, someone else needs to use the Zoom. So we okay. Okay. I just got a message that they have a hearing. You have any things? Okay. You can still talk. Yeah. Okay. Ben Parks is not here. Need options. In there.
Yes, thank you. So can't believe it's May already. We have a lot of events and things happening this month. We're running the May Walk and Roll Challenge on Get There online on Get There Oregon from May 5th to 16th. So you can log your active transport trips on there to win some fun prizes. We have a lot of local businesses on board, so the odds of winning are pretty good. So please log your trips. And then tomorrow on May 2nd, we're going to be at the First Friday Block Party at the Commons in downtown Bend. And this is a fundraiser for youth bike helmets. And then we are going to be at Pint Night at Cascade Lakes Brewery next Tuesday, May 6th. And that is a fundraiser for Safe Routes to School. And then next week on May 7th is Walk and Roll to School Day. So we will be at 5 different elementary schools throughout Bend. If anyone wants to get involved with that and help, walk with a group to school, you can email info@Commute Options for some more information on that. And then at the end of the month on May 28th, we'll be hosting a community Oregon friendly driver course at the library, if anyone's interested. So that's it. Yeah, you can find all the information on our social media as well.
Thank you. Yeah, that's time of year, isn't it? And then last is COIC, CET, Derek can make it, but he sent me a couple notes about some events they're doing. May 8th is a CET open house event at their Hawthorne Station from 11 to 4. So I'm just going to showcase all the new amenities of the Hawthorne Station event. And the city event accessibility advisory, they walk and roll tour. Will also happen there at 3:30 and at 5 at the Dogwood Food Trucks. So that is May 8th. And then Tri-Transit Week is June 2nd to the 8th. The fun events and prizes to celebrate CET event service hours expansion starting on June 2nd. All event fixed route start at 6 a.m. and then at 7:30 p.m. This event encourages more people to ride the bus. Okay, any other comments?
I have one really quick, there's related. Oregon Transit Association is gathering up people who use active transportation to testify and say at the Joint Committee on Transportation. The date is May 13th from 5 to 7. In person is best, virtual is good too, and lastly, submit comments in writing. You need more info, just asking.
Okay. Other comments or input? Well, thank you. I adjourn this meeting. 15 minutes late. And thanks to everyone for coming and doing it. Good
Good luck.
We get water. Yeah.
I would.